Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition, late breaking edition, late night, late tight edition, Polymuse. Polymuse is the podcast brought to you by myself, Ben, my cousin, whose name is Michael, sitting
Hello.
right next to me. How's it going, Michael?
It's going very well.
Welcome to Polymuse.
Well, we're running through Linkin Park here.
Yes, we do.
Today we're hitting on A Decade Underground.
Sounds fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool album. Kind of not really one of their main studio albums at all.
No, kind of not at all.
But so they got these underground albums.
Yep, Linkin Park Underground is the Linkin Park fan club. Every year they'd release some previously unreleased material or demos or stuff that didn't make the cut for commercial albums. And we are going to hit on the 10th release that came out in 2010 because it was kind of a collection of some songs from the previous 9 and just a good grouping to go over here. We're not going to hit on every single release that came out because they ended up with 16 total at this point, I believe, going through 2016. So we're just going to pick on this piece here because it had a few good songs we'd like to hit on that missed some cuts for commercial albums. So,
and it's the greatest hits of their underground material.
yep.
They came with this little postcard thing in the CDs, and you would mail it in, and you could become part of the fan club. I can't remember if it cost money or not. I never did it as a kid. Then yeah, they would send you CDs in the mail of it would be these underground albums. They're all just called Underground 1, Underground 2, Underground 3. But it's live tracks, demo tracks, alternate versions of tracks, and the album we're doing today is all the best songs from that material. And it's just a cool way. We're not going to, as Michael said, we can't do all the underground albums on the podcast, but this is a good way to kind of go through what some of that material is all about.
Yep. So I know that the fan club did, at least later on, cost an annual amount. So
that
I don't know
makes
if
sense.
it did initially,
Right.
20 years ago, but
You just pay your dues, and then it's basically like Patreon or whatever, or some of these platforms where
sure.
people have their platform, and then the fans who are actually paying for it get the extra little nuggets here and there, and so they were way ahead of their time. It's a really cool idea.
So A Decade Underground, we've got 10 tracks here. First, we have an announcement service public, not a public service announcement, announcement service public, of which the only lyrics are, "You should brush your teeth and you should wash your hands." In reverse.
Yeah, it's backwards, and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. It's like a sound collage. It's a lot. We're not going to rank it because it's basically an intro piece to the album. It's a lot of guitar. It's cool. This song's actually really cool because it shows each member of Linkin Park. It just has like 6 different instruments all playing a separate part and all really kind of standing out. So you can kind of hear like the drums, the guitar, the bass. You got a sample, which is, I guess, Chester. You've got a ton of scratching from Mr. Hahn. And then you've even got like violins, which I always say is Mike Shinoda's signature instrument. He's always putting violins on everything. So it's just each member's sound kind of coming through on an intro piece. And I think that's a really cool way to build a jam where it's just making sure that each piece is really sticking out and separate and has a melodic piece to it all on its own.
It checks in at just under 2.5 minutes. So if they wanted to come in with some real lyrical intro piece, whether singing or some mic hip-hop bars, they could certainly do that. It would have been nice to...
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have something different lyrically over it, although I understand it's almost some weird subliminal messaging, just a weird little piece that wasn't meant for an album. It was just a little diddly here. It was recorded during the Midnights to Midnight session.
That
makes just
sense.
A little piece thrown in here. Now we roll from that into QWERTY.
It's a big live song for them too. They would break this one out. It's just breaks into like a perfect mosh pit rhythm. They just lock right into the groove where you just have to do it and you just have to let it out. You gotta mosh. It's crazy. It's a really tight groove. You like QWERTY?
I do like QWERTY. We got some nice Chester screams in here. It would have made Minutes to Midnight. It did not make Minutes to Midnight, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's one of those tracks that was just didn't quite make the cut. They did write it while they were over in Japan touring and actually performed it over there before it was, well, obviously it didn't make a release, but before it hit any of these underground tracks, before it hit anywhere, it was performed live.
It's super metal-y, like more metal than they usually do or more kind of typical metal, but it's still really good and really tight. And it's like it's Linkin Park style metal, but even more metally than they typically go, with some of their other influences not in it as much. There is kind of rapping stuff from Mike in the verses. It's really cool when all the instruments drop out in the verses and then they bring them back in one by one. A really good breakdown, like a legitimately awesome, unique breakdown that's not a rip-off of other breakdowns or like a generic breakdown. Really cool, like staccato, tremolo lead guitar. All around great song. I think it could have been a hit single. I think it's an A song.
Well, and you get Mike and Chester on here.
Yeah, you
Mike
got them
spitting
both.
bars. Chester really screams singing through the whole thing.
Yep.
So it's just a nice collaboration. I think it would have been a great live piece.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been a great album release as well. So it's just interesting it didn't make a real album.
They wanted to do, a power ballad album and have 15 power ballads in a row instead, as we've criticized earlier.
A lot of our key themes here: lying, crossing lines.
Yeah, what's it about? Let's talk about that.
You hide behind your lies, you don't know why. You hide behind your lies, you don't know why. Wrapped up inside your lies.
Yep.
So
Lies.
very similar Linkin
He
Park
hates
themes.
lies.
He does. No, get him.
Yeah.
What track was it? Underneath
all
you,
of them.
behind you,
All of
to your
them.
left, to your right. Just can't do it with your lies. Can't do. Yeah.
And why is it called QWERTY? I know
Just-
that's from a keyboard, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those songs. I give it an A.
I give it a solid B plus.
Fair enough.
And one is track number 3 on the album.
Tell me more.
It is the first track with Chester.
The first track they ever did with Chester?
First track ever written with Chester.
That makes
So
sense.
it's from way back in 2009.
This sounds exactly like a Hybrid Theory song. Like you could lie to me and say that this was on Hybrid Theory and I somehow remembered it wrong and I would believe you because just the guitar tone, the drum tone, all the patterns, the vocal effects, the guitar effects, the scratching effects, it's just identical. It just is exactly what they honed in on Hybrid Theory and I can't believe that this got cut at all. Like that should just be there.
It was written after the Hybrid Theory EP was released, but before, obviously, the debut album, and it just didn't make the cut. But it fits right in with the Hybrid Theory theme.
And for whatever reason, there's like a really weird thing that happens at the end where it just totally switches up into a completely different song.
And that's very cool. And very early Linkin Park to do something a little different.
Yeah, I like it when songs do that. It's very art rock. It's very, some avant-garde. Like, let's throw in a sound collage. Let's throw in a bunch of noise. Let's have, like, a 13-minute song, which we'll talk about soon. But, yeah, it just completely switches up to a totally different song. Crazy squealing, like, scratch samples. Really like muffled rapping that's really, really hard to understand. I think it's cool that it's like a 2-part song and it goes to this weird sound collage song thing at the end.
And we go from a nice, strong Chester chorus to the switch up, which is Mike, kind of some muffled lyrics in the background. So kind of a hip hop switch up with the weird breakdown as you described.
But yeah, it's even more weird because the beginning is so straight ahead metal. Honestly, the second half is not that different from Cure for the Itch. So I think this whole piece, both halves, should have been on Hybrid Theory. It should. There's a way to fit it in the track listing where it makes sense, I'm sure.
And when the song name was a basketball reference specifically to a shoe. Just a little side note there. I think it's fun. Would have liked it in the debut album.
It should be there. I'll give it a B. Solid B.
I give it a solid B+. Sold my soul to Yo Mama. Not your, yo. Sold my soul to Yo Mama.
Good song. Chill song. Super chill, clean guitar.
Just a quick 2-minute hitter.
It's a song that samples other Linkin Park songs, which is cool. We've heard that before on the song Executioner Style on Reanimation, where it's a new song that is completely made up of samples of other Linkin Park songs. So this could have probably fit in as a Reanimation thing, except it's way more chill and kind of... It just makes me think of clouds and rainbows and stuff like that. And Reanimation is not like that at all. So, no. But it's that idea of how to make a song.
It is. It was arranged, put together, written by Joe Hahn in 2004, and released with the LP Underground 4. So we talked about how this was a collection, the Decade collection, basically. So this was early on in that series. This was originally released. We do have some points of authority, some paper cut. Very much a Joe Hahn scratching collaboration.
Yeah, very similar probably to Cure for the Itch. It's cool that there's more material like that. You know, they had to just let him go and just take the best little chunks of it and, you know, use it throughout the album as interludes or as Cure for the Itch type stuff. So that's cool. It makes sense that there's a lot more of that.
I give it a C+. I'm not really pulling this up to listen to it.
I gave it a C.
Next up, we have Dedication, a 99 demo.
Dedicated. It's very hip-hoppy. It's just like a super old-school crushed boom bap drum part and some like keys, like piano-sounding keys.
It was first released on the LP Underground 2.0. It's the second Underground release that came out. It was recorded in 1999, so another early sample. And we do have some It's Going Down by Executioner sampling on here.
Okay.
But just a nice piece that probably, I don't think it would have fit on Hybrid Theory.
No.
But it could have fit on Reanimation, certainly when they had the Executioners featured on there.
True. It's okay.
Yeah. It's more or less a Mike Shinoda showcase.
There's some guitar that comes in, and yeah, probably some Joe Hahn, but yeah, I don't think there's any Chester. It's the Fort Minor storycore style where he's telling you a story and explaining different characters and just what he's seeing and what he's experiencing and telling you like about different people's lives, basically. Super depressing, super kind of like melancholy and melodramatic almost, which is kind of why I don't like it. It's like it's intense, but it's like, what is he really talking about? It's kind of a made-up thing. What do you give it as a grade?
B-.
I went C-. I'm not going back to this one. It's fine, but they have way better straight-ahead rap songs than this, too.
Track 7 is a live rendition of Hunger Strike by Chris Cornell, with Chester lending himself to assist with the vocals.
So I'm not a Pearl Jam fan at all. It just hits my ear the wrong way. I know there's a lot of Pearl Jam fans. There's a lot of fans of rock that like Pearl Jam, that I respect their opinions. I'm not a Pearl Jam guy. So it was taken from a Chris Cornell show. It's a cover of a song by Temple of the Dog, which is a side project that is basically Chris Cornell and Pearl Jam together. So singing it is Eddie Vedder as a guest vocalist from Pearl Jam and Chester Bennington as a guest vocalist from Linkin Park. I think should not be on this album. They're like cramming a Pearl Jam song into a Linkin Park album and making me listen to Eddie Vedder, and I don't see what the point of that is. There is a little bit of Chester in here.
Yeah. I don't think Chester knocks that out of the park. It was part of the opening for their Live from Project Revolution tour in 2008. So
I guess that makes sense to include at some point.
yeah,
The B, F side. D side, I'll give it a D.
yeah. I don't think Chester's super strong on this. This is a C. They could have put a lot of other tracks on this compilation. And I don't know. It's not solid. There are other better live performances of this track.
I apologize to Pearl Jam fans. I'm not even dissing. I just don't want it mixed into my Linkin Park. It just ain't my jam. I get that it's other people's jam. I get that. Not my jam. And let's get to some Linkin Park. Next up, we got My December, my favorite song, Michael's favorite song, S tier song. We've heard it at least a few different renditions, versions, remixes.
And this is a live recording
The live
as well
version.
from 2008.
Very pretty. I think it's good.
Just vocals and chords. I like it.
Vocals and piano. Mike and Chester
There are,
in the mix.
yeah, Mike does some back vocals.
They're weak.
Shaky. Yep.
They should harmonize and they don't.
Yeah. It's not my favorite. And I love this song.
I think the performance itself is strong, like it, but there's just so much more they could do with it and still keep it this minimalist version.
Yes.
But they're not going the extra mile.
I think there are places where Chester just feels a little weak or trails off a little bit. And I just think you can't do that with this. They're there for they're there for your vocals and the keys.
Yeah.
So you have to be strong in both.
So you got to do it. I will say this is a cool version, and I do think that they kind of have a flow through it where it progresses and has really good dynamics, and they keep it moving. They keep it strong musically, maybe not vocally, but with the keys and the volume that they hit, they do. It doesn't lose the energy of a live performance. Like, they always give it that extra oomph all the way through, and that's kind of what I'm picking up on, because a song like this could just fall flat after 20 seconds. Like, the audience could just be like, oh my God, and start snoring. But just the way they push it and move through the riff and kind of get louder at certain parts, they're really good at keeping it interesting.
Yes, they hit their marks.
They hit their marks.
They keep it flowing as the song is meant to flow.
Flowing.
The lyrics aren't overpowering the piano. The piano isn't overpowering the vocals by any means. I just wish that spots were I just think spots can be better vocally. But that's just me.
Yeah. We're not going to rank the live songs. Although I gave that Eddie Vedder thing a D. So
I give My December a C+. I just wasn't feeling it as much.
I gave it a B. I thought it was an interesting version, but they could obviously do way better. Next up, we've got Part of Me, track 8. This is a pretty cool song. I think it kind of seems like a prototype version of what Linkin Park became. It's rap and it's rock, and it's a proof of concept, and it's like, we can do this, but it just is there's just so much more to go and so much more to do. And so some of the riffs are good, some of them really bop and really grab you and really slam, but some of them just don't work and don't meet. It just feels like it's like just a proof of concept, and it's like, okay, now go do a really good version of that. Like, you invented the genre, now, go write the songs.
Yeah, that's exactly what this was. Actually recorded pre-debut album, pre-Hybrid Theory.
Right.
So another Mike, lots of Mike rapping. We got Chester in there, of course, on the chorus. I feel it every day. I feel I made my way. I feel it swell up inside, swallowing me.
Pretty good song. I give it a C.
I enjoy it. We have a lot of intense Mike on here.
Yeah.
Vocally. And I wish they could have tuned it up and put it on the debut project. I think Hybrid Theory might have been a little bit more intense, really, than this, even though it's very heavy.
Like, if they could have re-recorded it with the Hybrid Theory effects and drumming and guitar. And
yes. So very raw, as we said, like it should be, pre-debut album. I give this a solid B+.
Nice. Good for Linkin Park.
Running up next, we have Across the Line.
Well, actually, we got to say, on Part of Me, so it's the regular song.
Oh, yes.
Then you get like 10 minutes of a really obnoxious, it's like a radio sound. It's like Morse code or something. It's like a buzzing, but it's not. It's like just like an amp feedbacking for forever. Just a sound, just a really obnoxious. It's a sound collage. I think it's cool. It's art. It's a little just weird. So it's the second extended sound collage outro we've had on the Decade Underground, which is cool. It shows that they're experimenting. It shows that they want to hear how different things sound and get the different qualities of sound. So even if it's not necessarily music, they are experimenting with getting different tones, different, how does different. It's just making records. Like, that's what it is. They're making recordings. So sometimes you're making records of just nonsense, just sound, stuff that's going on in the room, electronic sounds, and they can use those later as instruments or pieces of songs or samples of songs. But this is just annoying. They just it's just like buzz, 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 and then it goes into a sound collage song, which is just another boom bap drum sample, really crushed, distant sounding, really kind of trippy synth part that goes over it. Kind of a cool little piece at the end. The whole thing, it's weird that they put the sound collages on like kind of the biggest hit songs on here, the two that could have really been like Hybrid Theory standout tracks. Also have like these like two extended sound collage things on this album.
Yeah, not sure why it was decided to do that, but all in all, this track is played out, clocks in at just under 13 minutes with all three segments together. So
check it out.
Yeah. So Across the Line now.
This song's great.
It is. One of the last songs to get cut from Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah, had to do it though. I understand.
It was originally titled Japan, and was on the DVD for making of Minutes to Midnight. And there was a lot of pieces that hinted it would be on the album. Everyone thought it would be on the album. Was cut. Didn't make it.
It's really good, but it's not like any of the other Minutes to Midnight stuff. It's like crazy hardcore, breakcore, techno, like really hardcore beat on the drums. And then just... it's storycore. He's telling a story, but it's Chester kind of telling about a character. Usually when it's Chester, he's singing about himself, and then there's a lot of Mike stuff where Mike is talking about, like, telling a story, explaining a situation of somebody else. So this is Chester telling a story, which is interesting. And what I don't really get what it's about, but it's about like some kind of old West hijinks or something is what I imagine when I listen to it. Like, it's some kind of love story, murder story, shenanigans running around type of song, and I love that, and I'll give it an A. An A.
Yeah, it's kind of described as like a wartime scene, but...
Okay, so that's the story. It's a war, it's a guy, it's a girl, they got guns.
The way it's taken, it can be interpreted several different ways.
It's still...
with every battle he's choosing, with every fight he's losing, his enemy's not far behind. Could be another internal conflict. Could be interpreted a lot of different ways. But I give this a solid A. I like this song.
And there's a really good breakdown in the bridge.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about that one?
So this is one of a couple songs that could have been straight to album off of this CD.
Yeah. Then we got track 10, Pretend to Be. Very weak song. Maybe the weakest song on here. I give it a D. It's a generic, clean sounding thing. It's not really a rock song. It's some kind of weird indie groove. Like, I don't know, man. They're trying like a different style of kind of softer rock or something, but I don't dig it at all.
Why do I have to see this through? Why do I have to take this? Isn't there something I can do to make myself finally say this? Just a fine song. Thought to be one of the songs also caught by Minutes to Midnight. As you said, a little bit weaker song. Something that could be if you're performing live, something you can sing with the chorus.
Yeah. It's got that stadium chorus, it does, that you can sing along, but I don't get the instrumentation at all. It just sounds super pulled back and super clean and super weak.
Yeah, but just another kind of track about lies or being deceived. Not super great instrumentally, not the strongest lyrically, but certainly not their worst. Can see how this one got cut. But it's a B. It's
all right.
Again, if you can sing along with a chorus a little bit, I don't think it's a complete throwaway.
Complete failure, right.
So
that's a fair point.
Although it clocks in at 4 minutes. That's a long time for a hum-ho.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Uh-oh kind of song.
Yeah.
But, whatever. It's fine.
So that's kind of the...
This is demos, and as we said, throwaway tracks. And
well, that was the 10 greatest hits of the throwaway tracks.
Yeah.
It was the 10 best songs from the songs that didn't make it or the songs that were just too experimental or weird. And it's cool that they did that. I love it. I love it when bands do that because you kind of see how their songwriting process goes and kind of some of the different ideas that they go through when they're creating the main bodies of work. And it wouldn't make any sense to cover all of the underground stuff, but I just think the underground idea and project was so cool that I just thought we had to do this little episode here. Celebrating the decade underground. It's probably been 2 decades by now, I'm sure. And maybe they'll do a 2 decades underground and do the 20 best tracks that they ever did, because there is some stuff that happens after this. To celebrate the decade underground, we are going to do one more little slice from the Underground Archive. I believe it is Volume 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Volume 8.
Volume 8. All right, here we go. It had a title that wasn't just Underground 8.
Yep.
It's called Cookies, Sweet... Let me get it right. Let me make sure I got it right here.
I got it.
We'll pull up the Linkinpedia.
Underground 8 was called Cookies, Sweet Hamster-Like Jewels from America.
So the album's called Sweet Hamster Like Jewels from America, and the band is called Cookies, according to Linkinpedia. So this is their side project, Joke Band, where they make just really short joke songs. I love this kind of stuff. As a musician, when you're writing songs and you're writing like serious, real, constructed songs, it's so much fun to just do improvised, made-up comedy songs where you're just saying the goofiest thing that comes to your head and making a song like that. And we're going to cover that album right now. What do you say, Michael? You want some Sweet Hamster Like Jewels from America?
Yes, this is an awesome, fun little project.
Yeah. What's your reaction to just the whole idea of the style of music?
As a listener, it's not always the most fun to talk to, even if it's fun to, as a band, record and take a break.
It's more fun to make than
Right.
it is to listen to. That's a fair point.
But this is fantastic.
We called it popcorn music when I was doing it with one of my former bandmates. We would just make popcorn music where it's just improvised, just goofy songs about animals, songs about clouds, songs about anything, just random nuts nonsense. So track 1 is called You Ain't Gosta Gosta. And it is a James Brown parody. Sounds like Mike or maybe a couple people beatboxing and making crazy bass noises with their vocals. And it sounds like Chester doing the James Brown impression there. And it's just a really goofy beatbox, fake soul song or something.
Yeah.
S tier? Do they all just get an S?
Yes. S for super enjoyable.
Super enjoyable. If I did do a mixtape of Linkin Park, I might cram a few of these on there at the end. Maybe not this one. We'll see. Is it fair to rank these?
I think so. So it is.
It's not S tier. Honestly, let me think about it for a second. Because there's S tier ones coming up.
Well, so to note real quick, this song is only a minute long.
Oh, yeah.
There's 6 tracks. 6 tracks. And it clocks, the whole EP clocks in at 11 minutes.
And it's all just Chester and Mike. I give this one a B.
Solid B. That's good.
What do you think?
I'd give it an A.
Wow.
I think we're getting all A's here, though.
Holy crap. Track 2, Bubbles. I give Bubbles an A.
Oh, yeah.
These are like memes. Like you hear it and then you just want to repeat it, and it's like an inside joke, you know?
We get like a Hootie and the Blowfish Bubbles here.
Is that what it is?
That's kind of what it sounds like.
It's just absurd. All about bubbles. They just spell bubbles and sing bubbles and say bubbles.
I want to be a bubble. I wish everyone was a bubble.
That's a meme, dude. I think if you got a meme like that, I'm going to laugh at Bubbles a lot now. Every time I see Bubbles, I'll be like, yeah. Track 3, No Laundry. It's like a garage rock song about how you don't do no laundry.
Yep.
Wait, did you rank Bubbles?
Bubbles is an A.
Okay.
It's all A's.
It's A's.
It's just A's.
My name is Bubbles, and I love Bubbles.
No Laundry. Another 1 minute quick hitter. It's A. Yo, I don't want to do my laundry.
This one's like a D.
A D.
But I'm only comparing it to the other joke songs at this point. We got Dub Blues, track 4, joke blues song, another D. It's funny. It's funny that they can do all the different styles and all the different impressions, but it doesn't really go anywhere. There's no real joke to it other than that he's just making fun of Dub Blues.
Clocks in at about minute 17. Not as fun as the other songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So A?
I'll give it a B.
You said all A's.
Well, I changed my mind. You talked me out of it.
Oh, man.
Now, PB and Jellyfish. Clocking in at a solid 155. It's like average length for some songs sometimes now, about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Nowadays it is. It's funny and catchy, but I give it a C because it's just such a generic riff, which is what you have to do with this kind of music to just make it up as you go along, but it's just such a played out 4-chord riff that it's just like whatever.
About wanting to be a jellyfish and how awesome it is to be a jellyfish. This is an A. When you hug me, I go squish.
Because I'm a jellyfish.
Because I'm a jellyfish.
It's a good meme. It is a great
solid
meme. Kind of surprised they never played this as Linkin Park. But Cookies is a different mindset, different band.
And the hit should be single off of this. Clocking at a solid 3.5 minutes. 26 letters in the alphabet.
In the alphabet.
We have a banger.
It is a banger. This is a meme. This is hilarious. This is epic. This is like a club from a cartoon that you want to live inside. It's like it's a Sesame Street song about how he wishes he knew how many letters was in the alphabet, and he figures it out. It's 26.
We got Bert and Ernie making an appearance. This is such a great song.
It just bangs. We're playing it in our ears right now. It's like we're just smiling and cracking up all over again. I mean, I can't believe that the guys who wrote about 100 songs about suicide wrote 26 letters into alphabet, and it's just blowing my mind. Ernie got wasted and Bert went flat. Got thrown out. Can't go back. 26 letters. It's like the Fergalicious step. 26 letters in the alphabet goes Fergalicious step. It's like that kind of a thing.
Yep, that's exactly right.
It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Standing outside going supercalifragilistic Fergalicious step. It's so good. I want to have a mix of this and Fergie now. It would work
There you go.
very easily.
So an awesome little side
Shake
project
it, Bernie.
here.
Shake it, Ert. 26 letters into alphabet.
A nice quick 6 songs. We got some awesome album artwork as well for Cookies.
Imagine receiving this in the mail and thinking that you were subscribed to the Linkin Park Record Club.
Yeah, our album artwork here, we got a pirate ship, we got a rainbow, an angry cactus, a fighting elephant, a dragon, robots, just some cartoons on it, and this goofy assortment of tracks. So if you look up Cookies, Sweet Hamster Like Jewels from America, it's a good time.
I'm assuming most Linkin Park fans have never heard any of this stuff and never knew about any of this stuff.
That's probably the case.
It's all worth it for 26 letters into alphabet. The beat is insane. It's like perfect.
So that was this is the 8th Underground release that came out in December of 2008.
And none of these made it to the serious Underground 10 decade compilation greatest hits album that we did.
Such a bummer.
Which is a bummer. But yeah, we just had to do this one. Other than these two, the rest of the Underground releases that we didn't cover up till 10, it's a lot more live stuff, a lot of more demos and kind of different versions of songs. So between the Underground compilation and the Sweet Hamster Like Jewels, we're getting to see kind of the other sides of their songwriting process, where they've got instrumental songs, they've got songs that are kind of experimenting with a genre that they can use to narrow in on the genre later. They've got songs that are like Cure for the Itch style instrumental songs where they can kind of pull sounds and use it as interlude pieces or use it as a music bed for a song. They've got sound collage stuff. They've got stuff that should have been on Minutes to Midnight. They've got popcorn music or cookie music or whatever you want to call it. Just little jewels, just little crumbly made up off the top of your head. And they got 26 letters into alphabet.
So that's what you got. It's part of the LP Underground, which looks like it's sent out at the last Underground album there in 2016.
So there's definitely stuff after the 10 compilation that we did. Maybe we'll do them in a future episode, maybe not. We're kind of trying to stick to kind of core releases. This one just represents that whole era and the whole concept of Linkin Park Underground. Just a record club in general kind of happened here and there back in the day, but nowadays it's been replaced by like Patreon or something like that, or some kind of paid service where you've got an artist that's releasing content every month or every week. And it's just cool that they did that and tried that and did something for the fans, did something where you could really, really be a part of their songwriting process.
Yeah, I think the model's just changed a bit. Used to be a part of the Power Rangers fan club when I was young. That's what I was a part of.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, used to send you stickers and stuff.
Send you records and stickers. And
it didn't send me any songs like Cookies, though.
No.
That would have been fun.
That would have been a hilarious surprise. It's like their April Fool's album, you know?
Yep.
Like you think it's going to be serious music, and it is, but it's like it's a different kind of serious music.
Yeah. So next up, we will do 1,000 Suns as we return to the main commercial releases here.
I'm so excited to do 1,000 Suns. I really like 1,000 Suns. It was their big comeback after, kind of some hiatuses in between and Minutes to Midnight taking forever. They really hyped 1,000 Suns as kind of a concept album, and they're big. Here we go. Here's the real project that's coming at you. I jumped back on the Linkin Park train full board at that point, and I'm super excited to re-listen to it for the first time in a long time and cover it on Polymuse with you, Michael, my cousin here, co-hosts of Polymuse. We love you, ladies and gentlemen. You are our favorite audience ever. What else can we say? Decade Underground, 2 decades underground. Long live Linkin Park. Viva la Rasta.
Okay.